The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, continue to conduct attacks on tunnels used by Hamas, a terrorist organization located in the Gaza Strip. According to IDF information, over 200 entry and exit tunnels have been eliminated by the Israeli army, with a focus on the northern and central parts of the Gaza Strip. The IDF discovered a new strategy by Hamas involving the use of fiber optics to construct cable lines in the tunnels. Utilizing intelligence robots, the IDF identified a new tunnel network near the Shao-Zanim water channel between the settlements of Tanim and Law in Israel. The IDF's intelligence unit and special forces developed a critical operational plan to deal with this newly discovered network, which included traps and explosives set by Hamas to hinder IDF operations. Despite challenges, the IDF Special Forces took significant measures to ensure mission security using fiber optic cables and artificial intelligence robots. After implementing these security measures, the Special Forces advanced through the Shao-Zanim water channel using boats for transportation. At a certain point, they had to abandon the boats and proceed along the road next to the channel to reach the new Hamas tunnel line. This road was laden with explosives and traps, but the Special Forces successfully disarmed it, launching retaliatory attacks against Hamas terrorists during the clashes. More than 10 Hamas terrorists were killed, and the tunnel entrance near the water channel was destroyed. Some terrorists managed to escape the Special Forces attacks, potentially seeking alternative exits from the tunnel network. The Special Forces then advanced towards the settlement of Beitan, where ground troops and IDF artillery brigades launched a heavy attack to destroy the new Hamas tunnel line along the water channel. The estimated length of this tunnel line is approximately 30 km from Beit Anan to the center of Gaza City, though the total extent of the network is still uncertain. In summary, the IDF is committed to combating the Hamas tunnel infrastructure along the water channel between Beitan and Gaza City. Special forces and artillery attacks aim to destroy these tunnel passages, but the IDF's silence on the exact tunnel route raises the possibility of future IDF attacks targeting the tunnel network. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has emphasized that Israeli forces will reach all Hamas agents across the Gaza Strip. Hamas heavily relies on its tunnel network, spanning about 500 km in the Gaza Strip, serving as a labyrinth for weapons, ammunition, strategic routes, and housing leaders and hostages. The IDF employs critical tactical measures to map these tunnel networks and close dangerous secret passages. However, the presence of hostages complicates IDF plans, with approximately 240 hostages held by Hamas in tunnels under Gaza. Rescuing them requires relocating Gaza residents, identifying tunnel entry and exit points, and facing humanitarian challenges. The conflict between the IDF and Hamas has significant humanitarian repercussions, displacing thousands and impeding access to shelter, water, food, and medical care. Basic infrastructure such as hospitals, schools, and water supply systems has been severely damaged. International organizations and countries worldwide are calling for an immediate ceasefire and civilian protection, providing humanitarian aid to the region. Diplomatic efforts are underway to mediate a peace agreement between Israel and Hamas, but the situation remains volatile and complex. It is essential to note that differing perspectives and opinions exist on this conflict, rooted in deep historical, political, and religious factors. Seeking information from various sources and considering different viewpoints is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of the situation. The Israeli airstrikes in Gaza are part of long-standing conflicts between Israel and Palestinian militant groups, aiming to neutralize militant capabilities and prevent future attacks. The region's history, political context, and humanitarian issues underscore the importance of pursuing a peaceful and lasting solution for the stability and security of all involved parties. In public statements, Israel has maintained a firm stance while acknowledging the challenges it faces. On Friday, Zaki Hanegbi, the head of the Israeli National Security Council, informed reporters that the War Cabinet unanimously concluded that a limited cease-fire would be considered only after a substantial release of hostages. He emphasized that any cease-fire would be brief and restricted, as the focus would then shift to pursuing the war objectives. Prime Minister Netanyahu, in passionate remarks on Saturday, affirmed that the offensive would persist. He also defended the decision made last week to permit the first consistent fuel transfers into Gaza since the war's commencement. Throughout its Gaza offensive, Israel has restricted almost all deliveries of essential supplies like food, water, fuel, and medicine, upon which the 2.3 million people in the enclave rely for survival. Netanyahu underscored the importance of humanitarian aid for international support to continue, stating, "Due to this necessity, we agreed to the recommendation to deliver fuel to Gaza." Netanyahu addressed the crowd as numerous relatives of hostages, along with their supporters, concluded a 5-day march from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, urging government intervention. Many emphasized that safeguarding the lives of innocent Israelis was paramount, even if it meant the government had to make short-term concessions to secure their release. Following some initial reluctance, the Biden administration, facing internal pressures between those advocating unwavering support for Israel's war objectives and those concerned about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, has now fully endorsed a temporary halt to the hostilities. Starting from President Biden's visit to Tel Aviv a week after the commencement of the conflict, and subsequent visits by Secretary of State Antony Blinken and various senior officials, the administration has exerted significant effort in urging Netanyahu to recognize the diminishing public perception in the wake of increasing Palestinian casualties. The reported death toll in Gaza has now exceeded 11,000. U.S. authorities have indicated their belief that a temporary cessation of hostilities would provide an opportunity for Hamas to assemble the hostages. Plans could then be formulated to safely guide them through the conflict zone. It remains uncertain whether the initial group of releases would encompass Americans or other foreigners. The optimistic outlook is that if the release of women and children proves successful, subsequent batches of captives may follow suit. This is the end of the video. Thanks for watching the video.